Good morning, crypto traders. Want to give you a quick analysis. It's Monday morning, expecting a pretty decent week of volume. We got a lot of notice and news and positive spin in the news, which is pretty rare for crypto. A lot of it's coming from traditional traders coming into the marketplace. But I want to give you guys a heads up as to what's going on. We're in the downward cycle, which is typical. The RSI here's overbought when it gets over to the top and oversold when it gets down to the bottom. And so I'm going to show you two different charts and show you what to expect. Right now, this chart here is my hourly, and then this one is my daily. So you can see the big swing here in Litecoin. Let's start with Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash has a little ways to fall yet. On the daily, you can see the RSI is really high, which means it has the potential to come back down to in the 40s, which means we could see a pretty decent swing downward to 1384, which is where we have a little bit of support, $1,300, which is right inside this channel. I personally don't think it's going to go down that far, but it could. That's what the charts are saying. If we go over to the hourly and we go to Bitcoin Cash, we see that it's already close to the bottom. We still have a little bit ways down. So we could see it get down to 30, 31, which is typical for this swing, which means it'll come back down here again to 14, 13 or $1,400. Let's go over to Litecoin. Litecoin is showing pretty close to the bottom of its swing. It's touching close to the support line here. I think it could actually come down a little bit more. It typically goes all the way down to 26 on the RSI, and it's at 34 right now. It just depends on when everything else starts swinging back up. You can see that sometimes it just comes right down to that line. Many times it comes right down to where it is right now and then makes a turn back up. And that's what the charts are saying. Let's go over to Litecoin on the daily. On the daily, we see that it could go all the way down to 153, which is kind of possible because on the daily we still have some downward swing on that momentum, and we don't have a tremendous amount of support right here. So it actually looks like it's going to make the swing down to 155 at least before it bounces back up and it touches this bottom trend line. So it could go a little bit below that line, which is what it's done every time it tests it, and then start making the return back up. So let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, the king. We can see the Bitcoin, the king, has a tremendous amount of support where it's at right now. It's at the $9,100, but on the daily, it seems that it could take a little bit more. It just depends on what the news is today. I think a lot of it's going to have to do with the SEC ruling on what it's actually looking at Ethereum to decide whether it is a security or not, and that will send some shockwaves in either direction. It'll send a few shockwaves into the industry once SEC makes some kind of determination. So let's look at BTC over here on the daily. We see that it's pretty close to the bottom. It has a little bit more to go. We see that when it's on its downward spiral, but at the same time, we see that it's also trending. It's trending in an upward trend. It's actually at a good buy signal right now. If you were in cash, 9,100 or 9,000 is really good position to put yourself in when it's on the downward RSI like this. And now let's go over to Ethereum. I actually got out of Ethereum. It might actually be a bad move if SEC has a really positive spin on Ethereum. Ethereum's probably going to be the first one to take off, so it's gonna turn and go in the opposite direction. But I always risk on the safe side. If it's a 50-50 chance and it's outside of my control, I'll get out and see what the market does before I make a decision. So we saw that because it's pending, a lot of people are doing the same thing. There's been a significant drop in Ethereum. The price has gone way down. The RSI is down here to 24, 25. And then we also go over to the daily on Ethereum, and we see RSI still has some place to go. There's a little bit of support here at 688. But if it breaks below that, then we probably see it go down in the 500s again. Again, I think it's going to have a lot to do with what the news says. So I'm currently out of Ethereum. I'm almost 100% into Litecoin, depending on what happens with this next swing. Like I said, let's get over here to Litecoin. I'm hoping that this is the bottom for Litecoin, and then we start seeing it take off again. We have had a really good couple days. It's been a tremendous trend in the upward momentum. We see that we got a higher high, then we got a higher high, and then we got a higher high, and the lows don't go down below the other lows. So as long as this stays up above 145, then we'll probably still be pretty clearly in the upward trend. It could actually get all the way down to 138 and still be, from what I consider, the long-term yearly upward trend. I actually didn't think it was going to get down in the 150s again because we had such momentum. But that's where we're at. I'm in cryptocurrency and not cash right now, which is I think a good place to be in an upward trend. And I'll see you on the next one.